Good morning. Welcome to Imagine Your Life with Jenny Lynn McKinnon. This morning, we're going to be discussing the amino acid glutamine. Glutamine is an essential building block of protein molecules in our body. Every other amino acid, which not every amino acid needs an element, a building block, a part of a molecule of glutamine for it to function. And so glutamine affects every cell of our body and becomes really, really important for us. And as we discuss about amino acids, I would invite you, if you have not, to watch last week's show if you have any questions about exactly how amino acids work and what they are, where they come from. We get amino acids from our food. And if you're eating a perfect diet, which most of us, if you live in America anyway, it's not always easy to do. I grew up with my family. We grew our own garden with 8 children. My parents, that's what we had to do to help supplement our income. And we had a very large garden. At least we lived on a 4-acre lot. And most of that was garden. Not most of it. We had a house, a barn, cows, chickens, pigs, and there was at least 1 acre of garden. But if you've ever gardened, an acre of a garden is a large garden. And so I spend a lot of time in the garden and weeding and learning and eating really good, healthy nutrition food. But that opportunity is very rare, especially nowadays. And I grew up and my mom bottled and we canned all of our food. And then that's what we ate through the year. It wasn't until I was a teenager and my parents' financial situation changed a little bit that we started adding these wonderful processed foods into our diet. And easy made meals, make meals, because my mom went back to work and life became more difficult. But what she did instill in me was a desire for fresh foods and vegetables and those garden vegetables. And I'm still a gardener at heart and have always had a small, much smaller garden, mind you. And I don't feel bad when I buy frozen peas from the market. I have to get my own. But that's important. Your food, nutrition, what are you eating? And amino acids. We get the building blocks, these basic building blocks of our body in amino acids. So today we are focusing on one of my most favorite foundational amino acids that every person in this world needs. And I can pretty much guarantee that you're not getting enough of it. And that is glutamine. What does it do? How does it function in the body? Well, glutamine is a basic building block to protein, and the proteins in our body help run our muscles, brain, nervous system. Our body requires proteins. It requires glutamine. The glutamine is a basic building block for protein and muscle building, which makes it very good for muscle recovery. And if you're building muscle and working out, and you'll notice that a lot of bodybuilder supplements have glutamine. Well, they all have glutamine in them, some element of glutamine. Now, glutamine also, it helps stop cravings. It's very good for leaky gut. We're going to talk about that. Very good for weight loss and for balancing your hypoglycemic index, which that refers to your blood sugar levels. It helps monitor, it helps regulate your pancreas and your liver. And before I get too far, I want to explain the difference between glutamine, and glutathione. You've probably heard of that. They're both very important. And glutamine is an amino acid. Glutathione is an antioxidant and helps cleanse our cells. It's part of our liver and our liver health and works with glutathione. Glutathione is really important if you are having any kind of liver issues. Then you can take the glutathione antioxidant and it will help cleanse the cells. It works as a detoxifier for every cell. So if you are going through chemo, cancer, radiation, even if you're having frequent MRIs, or even if you have one MRI, the glutathione will help to cleanse that. Just an FYI. But that is very different and works very differently than glutamate, where glutamate is an amino acid, glutathione is a cell detoxifier and an antioxidant. So it helps our immune system and works as an antioxidant in cleansing the cells. Now, glutamate is very, very good for your immune system. And I want to begin with how glutathione works in your gut. And when you improve your gut health, of course, you improve your immune system. You've probably heard of leaky gut syndrome, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. As your gut, when we overwork our gut, and if you have the, I don't want to say the distinct challenge with blood sugar levels and diabetes, and those, even if you're pre-diabetic, which most Americans are, glutamine balances your blood sugar levels. And I don't understand or know, I'm not a scientist, I'm a nurse. And I'm well studied and I love learning and I know a lot about amino acids, but I'm not a scientist and I can't tell you exactly all the mechanism of action, nor do I remember all of the scientific jargon. What I can tell you in simple layman's terms is that the glutamine amino acid binds with your gut lining and with other nutrients and proteins, and it helps. It's like it's the glue that seals in the cracks of the gut with leaky gut syndrome. And what happens with leaky gut syndrome, if you've experienced any leaky gut syndrome, I apologize. I went through it once. It was part of, I also have the challenge of multiple sclerosis. And at one point, my leaky gut was a big problem. And I wasn't even familiar with the leaky gut syndrome because you see, as a nurse for 35 years, I was about 20 years into it before I'd even heard the term leaky gut syndrome, because I was very focused on my education and where I was working in the hospital and what you do. And you'll find that doctors become very well, they're very knowledgeable, so smart in their expertise and field of study. But when you get outside of that, they're aware, but they're not always the expert on nutrition. So be your own best therapist, be your own best doctor. learn everything you can. Go to your doctor with questions about this. And especially GI specialists. GI specialists, of course, know about leaky gut syndrome. And now it's much more prevalent and it's talked about a lot more. But so in the gut, when there's stress, it's like it starts to spread out and the gut becomes loose. And those that intestinal tract, and it develops little cracks in between the cells. And we're talking on a very minute cellular level. And within those cracks, then our stool, all of our waste material, as we're excreting that, as it all focuses and goes through the gut, that bacteria from our gut leaks in microscopic levels through the lining of the intestinal tract into the rest of our body. Just keep it that simple. And then our body has to increase its immune system and try to always fighting that bacteria that's now been introduced to the generalized body system. And so our immune system becomes really stressed, which it activates our lymphatic system, all of these other systems in our body that all work together, and we get really sick, right? And we can get sick. So how do we prevent leaky gut? Well, the glutamine, like I said, it's like the glue. It's the simplest way I can describe it. It's the glue that seals up those crevices and those small leaks in the gut that allow bacteria to spread to the rest of our body. Thus, that keeps it captured and contained in the gut, and then our body is healthier, right? Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. So it improves leaky gut syndrome. And leaky gut syndrome goes along with irritable bowel syndrome. In fact, those two phrases I hear them interchanged all the time, very, very similar in their mechanism of action. Irritable bowel syndrome just means that you have an irritable bowel and you could have lots of bloating and gas and an irritable bowel, which doesn't mean that you have leaky gut syndrome, but many, many times they go together. The glutamine helps calm the acids in the stomach. I think of it as it just is, like I said, the lining, the glue, it helps heal the leaky gut, and it helps in the recovery with the immune system. Now, one specific story that I want to tell you, I have a client that, let's just call her Sally. And she's very obese. She's not very tall, about maybe 5'2", 5'3", and weighs over about 310 pounds. So as a hypnotherapist, I do a lot with weight loss. Well, she was looking at all of the health problems, right? I mean, she's mandatory. She needed to lose the weight. And hypnotherapy is great and amazing for weight loss in changing the picture of ourselves on the inside, and then we can change our body. Well, once I got her started on glutamine, we got her thoughts going the right direction. We got her self-esteem coming back. We started on glutamine, and the glutamine helped calm that gut and that inner side. Now, when she came to me, I will tell you, she was looking at having a bowel resection because of diverticulitis. Diverticulitis is a condition of the bowel, very, you have little polyps. It starts as a polyp, and like a hole. You get these holes in your bowels. That's the best way to explain it. Then it gets captured, bacteria gets captured in that, and then that grows and it irritates the bowel lining. And her mother had been through this. She's had diverticulitis for years, and it creates infection. So she was on antibiotics and just this roller coaster, plus the roller coaster of emotions, because you have this gut brain axis and your gut helps monitor your emotions. Well, the only thing we did, we started her on the glutamine, started her with hypnotherapy, getting her mind right, her body right. She was taking several glutamine a day. Now she's looking at having a full bowel resection and portions about 6, I don't know, anyway, I'm not going to get specifics. Just a major, major surgery for this woman. Get her on the glutamine. Her mood started to improve because her bowels stopped hurting. Where she's at now is that her last appointment, her doctor said, you're doing well enough. And this surgery is such a high risk surgery to resection the bowel. We're going to do a colonoscopy and we're going to just double check and see what is really happening again, because you're doing so much better. And we've been able to heal with the antibiotics. The glutamine is supporting, been able to slow down and stop her leaky gut syndrome. Those irritable bowel symptoms, guess what? She doesn't have them anymore, just occasionally. And she's monitoring her diet. She's eating healthy fruits and vegetables and adequate proteins and taking the glutamine. And she's feeling better. And what they're going to do now is they found that with the colonoscopy, all that her body needs, she just needs to have a few polyps removed, which is a very, very different surgery than having her like feet of her intestines removed and probably ending up with a ileostomy or a colonoscopy. A major, major difference, right? How was that achieved? It was achieved through one, adequate nutrition, adding the glutamine into that. And I always like to think hypnotherapy is amazing, and that all added into that, right? But that is the power of glutamine and the health. That's extreme. And now I've had people that have taken glutamine just to lose that extra 10 to 20 pounds of belly fat. And then they found that, my gosh, the cravings are gone. I use glutamine for my smokers and my drug addicts as when their cravings are off the roof and their blood sugar levels, they're going up and down. Guess what? We get them on glutamine and it helps balance everything else. And it helps every amino acid that they take after that work better. So glutamine is one of my major amino acids that I like to start everyone on, especially if they're having weight issues and they're having cravings. That's whether cravings for sweets and starches and they're just needing more. It helps curb those cravings. It helps with nausea. It's amazing for pregnancy and morning sickness. And it just helps to balance out the body and balancing the brain. And when your gut is balanced, guess what? Then you can think clearly. You can think better. And I'm just kind of glancing at my notes to make sure that I'm covering everything that I wanted to cover. And know that this is not an in-depth study of glutamine. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I am a nurse and I'm a mother and I'm a hypnotherapist. And I use these supplements. It's like going to the store and buying a vitamin C. You can buy glutamine. It's one of the most prolific amino acids that you can buy very inexpensively. You might at Walmart. You can order it on Amazon for cheap. Buy it at your grocery store. It's in foods. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing for weight loss, amazing for cravings, amazing for your health, your blood sugar levels. It increases your immune system. I read one report of one woman that had severe psoriasis. She got started on the glutamine, and guess what? She didn't take it for her skin, but that's what happened is it cleared up her eczema and her psoriasis. Amazing, incredible blessing that glutamine is in our lives. And the more we know about it and the more we know how to use it, which is really easy, and the cost effective, like you can buy a supplement of glutamine where you're paying 10 cents or less a capsule, or you can buy some more expensive ones that are probably the most like 25 cents a capsule or for a daily dose. And they doesn't have to be expensive. Just because the product is the most expensive on the market does not mean that it is the best product on the market. So do your homework there. The brand that I like is called Hypno Aminos. You can Google that online. And if you'd like, you can get some of that from me. And you can contact me directly through my website, which is imagineyourlife.biz, B-I-Z. That is my website. My email is imagineyourlife88, the number 88. And that's because I graduated in 1988, which is the best year ever. So imagine your life 88 at gmail.com. So if you want to order directly from me, that'd be great. You can do that. Otherwise, you can do a search on Amazon. Life Extension probably has the best. I really like Life Extension. Just give a plug for them because they have amazing products and supplements, and they share with you the knowledge behind the supplements and how it works in your body. And you sign up with them, you're going to get a wealth of knowledge and understanding about your own body, your own supplements, what you're taking. Because as you become your own best therapist and you take control of your own mind and you take control of your health, guess what? We do need our medical system. Absolutely. When I broke my arm, I needed a hospital. I needed surgery. And I was so grateful for that. But there's so much that we can do on our own to take care of our bodies through education and knowledge. So I am so grateful that you joined me today to learn more about glutamine, how it works in your body, what it does. It's amazing for gut health, for exercise, for mood stabilization, and creating the connection between the gut-brain axis. And I'm so grateful that you joined me today. And I'm going to end the show the way that I end every show, which is every day in every way, you get better and better. Now repeat this saying 10 times as your fingers touch the mattress and you prepare for sleep. Every day in every way, I get better and better. Repeated 10 times, one for each finger as your fingers touch the mattress and you prepare for sleep. And in this way, you will reframe and recreate your life. This is the best way to get your brain, your subconscious, working for you instead of against you. And when does it happen? While you sleep. You will find that you will sleep better and deeper. And the next day, you will wake up just a little bit better than you were the day before. And when you compound that over time, over days, weeks, months, years, and you're going to wake up in 20 years from now, have an amazing life, an amazing body, and wonder, wow, wow, that decision that I made 20 years ago, look how it's impacted my life and where I am now. Because you deserve to live an incredible life. Thank you for joining me, Jenny Lynn McKinnon, at Imagine Your Life with Jenny Lynn. See you next week.